Hello, everyone, and welcome to another chill Sunday Staxel stream. I hope everyone's having a wonderful Sunday. Just gonna wait for people to make their way into the stream. Today, I'm hoping that we can talk about some interesting conversations about the news cycles and bringing our own politics in, as well as continue working on the details of the base ship and try to obtain a magic wand and build a cart for some of the people within Staxel itself. That said, I'm gonna load up the game. So we can have our chill music in the background. There we go. Switch. And where we go. We've got Staxel. Greetings, Em. Welcome. How are you today? Welcome, Toots. Glad to have you here. How are you doing this Sunday? Ooh, that music's just uplifting right now. Didn't realize how much I needed that. Throw this up on Twitter. Greetings, Vinya. Are you going by Vinya now or Vendetta now? Also, how are you doing today? Welcome, Zero. How are you doing this lovely Sunday? Vinya works? Cool. Greetings, David. Welcome. I hope you're having a lovely day. Toots said it's 20 degrees Celsius and sunny yesterday, but now it's below zero and snowing heavily. That is a huge shift in weather. How am I doing with my base self? I am recovering from the first dose of the Moderna vaccine. So I might be a little bit in a bit of a brain fog today, but I'm gonna push through as best I can. Mostly it's been muscle aches and brain fog. With chills, but no fever or anything like that. Though I've heard the second dose is far more difficult to go through than the first. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Well, honestly, just being able to listen to this chill music, have all of you out here today is a great way to feel a little better. I just ask for a little bit of patience if I brain fog a little bit. That's all. Sarah says, I got a mild fever on my second dose, but overall I think it lasted a shorter time than the first. You know what it is? For me, it's been like my body feels like it's heavier than it should be, right? Like it feels like every time I go to move my arm, I'm lifting a weight every time I move my arm. Like my muscles are aching as badly as if like just lifting them is difficult. That's the thing that's been the frustrating part. We're just like sitting up or standing for an extended period of time has been kind of exhausting. But it's been slowly getting better, and Tylenol's helped. Come on, Staxel, give me more music. It's the lethargy, completely. But I'm able to lift my teacup, and that's what matters. And I can still lift my teapot, albeit with some difficulty. Cast iron teapot is not good for vaccine. Welcome, Ale. I'm glad to have you here. I hope you're doing good today. Yeah, tea is amazing, having my pot of Earl Grey. I'm just gonna give people a few minutes to make their way in, just chill out. Um, I announced it at the beginning, but I think it was a little bit before everybody got in. Hoping to... Yeah, I had to be fancy and get the cast iron. Oh, Vin, have you not seen the ears? TV16, welcome. I have tried fruit tea. Fruit teas are amazing. Do you have a favorite? So today I am hoping that over the course of this we can work on the details of the base ship. I'm hoping that we can do a little bit of the questing for real this time. I have an idea of how to make the magic wand for Serana finally, and we can make the cart for Eris. We have all the materials. Yeah, the ears have become the staple of the stream. And the last thing I want to talk about is a bit about the news cycle, but obviously anything else you want to bring up in terms of politics, more than welcome to. TB, Blackberry is amazing. I don't think have I had just I know I've had Blackberry in mixes of teas. I don't know if I've had it straight up. Hot chili pepper and lime. That sounds absolutely delicious. And now I want some. You can often make like a pepper mix of peppers in teas to help with congestion if you're sick. So that said, I think I'm gonna load in and see how we're doing. Okay, and mix it also, yeah. When you're sick, that hot pepper just does wonders. Actually, that's a really good question, Zero. Which type of pepper? Ship has come out really nice. I am very happy with this. I might end up building a little bit back, because I've noticed a lot of ships in like real life have a little bit bigger section on them in the back over the rudder, and that would kind of give more room up on the top anyway. Not too far, just enough to make it not look so flat on the back. So that's one of the details I want to fix. I want to make sure these extend all the way around and that they're properly aligned on all the parts of the ship. I might want to readjust the very front of the ship, because what I think I tried to do is make the front of the ship also the line that comes up the front. And I don't know, that kind of looks a little clunky as it goes up and looks like it's kind of hanging on by just a thread. So I might just want to angle this down. And then kind of get all the details, get some windows going down here. And I want to get a ram. We need a ram. So I'm going to have something come out from here and form into like a pointy ram for the front of the ship. There will be sails, yeah. But as it stands, I feel like this is looking amazing. Like, honestly, it's just going to be a matter of shifting the angle for this, because this is fine in terms of shape. Yet detailing the bottom was a lot more, like, difficult and interesting than I thought it was going to be. And I can show off the inside. Oh, that's fine, Ole. I'm more than happy that you're here, and, you know, whatever you're doing, I hope you enjoy. So yeah, this ended up being the bottom of the ship on the inside. And honestly, I could break down some of this as well. I just didn't want to possibly break the ship apart when I was building it. So I might want to like open this up a little bit, because this doesn't need to be as connected as it is here, I don't think. We'll get some barrels for some rum. So yeah, I am fairly happy with how this came out. We're gonna have to build some stairs down here. I'm also wondering about the possibility of making this 3 decks instead of 2. But that might be another project. Because technically, how high is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I could actually split this right here into 2 decks. Because 5 is generally what you want for a ceiling in Staxel. Oh yes, as David pointed out, if you are able to like the video, that would be very helpful. Because it will help with the algorithm. The mighty algorithm who dictates our lives. And tells us what to watch next. Also, I don't know if... Will anything on the boat be motorized? I don't think so. I was considering adding somewhere around here where the gap is, like a little bit of like a wing of clouds coming out, but I haven't quite figured out that design yet. But that is the plan for today with this ship. And then we have, in terms of questing, we want to create this. And then we're going to try to create the wagon for Eris. And other than that, we've at least got the bulk of the ship formed. So I think I'm going to start with the back area. And I'm just going to have this come out like maybe 5 more. And then maybe do something like that. Wait, was it 1 up or 2 up that I do it? 2 up. And actually might be... No, let me fill in the floor, then I can get rid of flying. The front of the ship looks... Oh yeah, I could see that. I'm just recently learning to cope with ADHD, which I wasn't aware of really until November. How's that coming along then, with learning to cope with ADHD? Have you come up with any, like, strategies that particularly work for you that you wanted to share or anything? Okay, I didn't want to type fly twice. There we go. It's difficult, you get exhausted easily because of the effort it takes to do stuff, so you've been more successful at doing tasks but struggle more socially. Had to learn one thing about removing steps from tasks that are challenging. Interesting. Zero says, I feel like the pandemic has damaged all our social abilities. You know, you're not wrong. And I think a large part of that has to do with the anxiety and fear of the virus. For me, at least. I don't know. I can't speak for everybody else. One thing that I did find interesting, though, is the fact that the flu deaths from flu has been lower this year. I know that is kind of like a weird thing, but it does connect in my head because the fact that we have been wearing masks and have not been as social is kind of tied to that. Vin says, I have a good example that's worked a lot. I had trouble putting laundry away, so I decided to put a laundry basket where I change instead. Yeah, that's a good example. And so that thing that was, creating essentially what was something that wasn't working for you ended up becoming something that worked for you. That's fantastic. I agree with M. I really hope that the coping and finding ways to do so gets better. M says, I was feeling alone in that struggle. For me, it's been hard to talk to my in real life friends for various reasons. It's definitely been a strange experience trying to be, or even attempting to be social with everything that's happened. And the fact that some places, and some, places of employment especially, have just had this mentality of, okay, everything's better now, we're supposed to just go back. It's like... this has been a traumatic experience. And one that capitalism is definitely not prepared to handle. Okay, that's much better. That is much, much, much better. Yeah, that makes me so much happier. Okay. Zara says, I miss hanging out with my colleagues. They're almost never around. So I just want to see if I can... There we go. Now I can see chat better. Are the backs of what usually curved? Like the back of the ship? They are usually ornamented. Like, they'll usually have some sort of pattern or design on them, actually. Which I was thinking... I wonder if I could pull that off. I have an idea. Let me get it back to daylight so I can see better. Because this might be pretty awesome. Hey, Base Cat. Thank you for another day of reality. Base Cat's grumpy. Uh-oh. Why are you grumpy? Aw. Base Cat woke up your cat, Ollie. Maybe Base Cat's gotten fed up with the state of our reality. Base Cat's happy again. Now Base Cat's grumpy. Base Cat, why are you grumpy? What the heck? Why are you all in bad health? Oh no! Is it because I'm flying? They've got plenty of food still. I should feed the other feeders. Well, I gotta make sure every day I pet them and take care of them a little bit better then. That's not good. It could be that they're dissatisfied with the weather. I have to feed the chickens also. And probably the cows and pigs. There we go. It's probably the weather, yeah. So, I have a plan for the back of the ship. But I need to get rid of that, actually, because I need inventory space. Okay, well, I haven't been petting them appropriately, so that's probably it. I have to be better about petting them. Mostly because I've been focusing on building the ship so much. So I need that. I need that. Well, they've been eating from the food bowls. I don't think that's an issue per se. But I am gonna throw some more food bowls down. Oh no, I need the large pet food. There it is. Oh, the music just pauses every now and then. It cycles. That's hilarious, Ben. Especially given her music. Must pet the cats daily. Or pet everyone daily, rather. So, I need one more thing. I need green box. I have heard that they're trying to get that. It's kind of ridiculous. Welcome, merchants. How are you doing today? I'm a fan of Ashniko. In terms of music. I couldn't say much about personality or anything like that, but music-wise, yeah, it's decent enough. I give it a listen every now and then. I'm glad to hear you had a chill week, merchants. That's really good to hear. What do you mean without the second S? That should do it. Oh, yeah. That, I didn't see that. Give me one sec. I want to see if I can get a picture of something. And I'm gonna try to pixel art this right into the game. You know what? I might need to... Bear with me one moment so I can get this. I might have to load you. That is probably better. Let me do that. Much better. Okay. Now I have an idea of how to do this. Put this next to chat so I can do both. I have found that Ashnika's music, you have to be in the right mood for me. You have to be in a certain mindset, or I have to be in a certain mindset, I should say. How tall is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. That's 16. How wide is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 23, 24. And I need 11. And then that, so, which requires 1, 2, 3, 4 extra spaces on each side. So 11 and 8, 19. Perfect. That should work. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Charlotte, welcome. How are you doing this Sunday? One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I want that to be the center. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That works. Welcome, Jay. How are you doing today? Charlotte says, feeling a little bit lonely. My cat's snuggling me right now to cheer me up at least. Well, I hope, Charlotte, we are able to provide some community and give you just a little bit less loneliness while we're here chilling this Sunday. And it is always awesome to have a kitty snuggling you. I'm doing okay. I'm holding in there. As I said earlier, I'm having some side effects from the back of the ship is going to be a surprise. I am having some side effects from getting the vaccine, but I am very happy that I have gotten the vaccine. So I'm physically a little bit weak and I'm getting bits of brain fog, but I'm happy that I got it because one step in the right direction. Two, three, four, five. Two, three, Emma, welcome. Jay, you are welcome to ask any questions, especially before we get going into the main part. Just bear with me if I'm a little bit brain fogged and slow because of the vaccine, but yeah, by all means, please ask whatever you'd like to ask. I might want to use a different block for that. Okay, let me catch up on chat. I'm sorry, I got really focused on that. Make sure to go to bed and then pet all the animals, and then I will answer questions. Hey, base cat. Here we go. Hey, Bo. I love that the turtle is named Bo. Base cat is content. Good. Okay. Reality has been saved. Carl barks? What are you doing, Carl barks? Okay. Okay, let me catch up. David says, I just finished reading the X-Men comic X of Swords arc earlier today. This template has space for a lot more things. Okay. Yeah, you're talking about your CV. That's really cool, Zero, that you're getting that done. That is one of the hardest and most frustrating parts to me, getting that kind of thing done. My thoughts on the Lindsay Ellis situation. So, okay, let's see. How do I put this? I don't know how that tweet that she put out there, turned into what it did. I think her explanation in her video was quite well articulated. And I did watch the whole video, and it's kind of hard to disagree with her after watching that whole video. That's my general take on the Lindsay Ellis situation. I don't think she did anything egregious enough to be ridiculed in the way, and attacked in the way that she was. Personally. But I also am someone who has noticed a pattern where a lot of times when people who are... How do I put this? Sorry, brain fog is like... I'm pushing past brain fog a little bit. Especially when women, people of color, and also trans people, when these groups express their positions on things, there's almost a purity test that they're expected to be 100% perfect on every little detail, and they are almost held to a higher standard than other groups of people, specifically white cis men. And it's almost as if the misogyny in Lindsay Ellis's case got purported again and got pushed out again in a new way. And I think there's also a level where there are certain aspects of our lives that we don't necessarily want to talk about. There's certain aspects we don't want to talk about our lives. We don't want to experience and go through. And there's a push for us to talk about aspects of our lives as content creators. At the end of the day, there's people that we're going to have good conversations and relationships on the internet with, even if we are content creators. And there's also people that we're going to more or less distance ourselves from. And especially as we get bigger, as we produce more and we get larger numbers, it's much more difficult to maintain that kind of thing. So Sometimes there's aspects of your life for personal reasons, for reasons around just protecting yourself and not wanting to give in to people, that you want to just not put everything out there. And that's not unfair or unrealistic either. I'm sure everybody here has done that in at least one friendship, where it's like you're friends about maybe one aspect of your life. Maybe you play D&D with this particular person, but you don't go out and play and talk about every single experience of your life with that person. Maybe there's a person you video game with, or a person that you do a book club with, that is not like the most close personal friend. And yeah, I think there's an ability for people on the internet to be able to do that. And there's almost an expectation that you're going to share your whole being. And it's very weird to me. And the fact that we keep mimicking and using the positions that right-wingers tend to use to attack each other is really getting frustrating. And I get it, like there's so much that we want to do to fix the world, but tearing people down who've become successful isn't necessarily the way to do that. And we should be focused on trends over people first and foremost. That's my thing. Every individual is going to have a personality attached to it. Every individual is going to have a fan base. Every individual is going to have something out there that's going to shift their perspective and opinion if they come under fire and attack. But we need to focus on the trends. And I definitely think there is a trend, especially for women, to get held to higher standards than men. I think trans people have been held to higher standards than cis people, and I have noticed that people of color are typically held to higher standards than white people in these online spaces, especially on Twitter. And I think that's something worth noting and talking about. Let me catch up on chat and what you all have been saying, because that's my thoughts, and let's see if I can, if there's anybody who's had any different thoughts. Oh, Emma had said congrats on getting the vaccine. Yeah, thank you, Emma. I really appreciate that. I'm glad to have gotten it. I want the side effects to end. She got canceled. She just published a long video about it. That video was intense and good, honestly. I also think that there's room to recognize the fact that we're going to make mistakes and we're human. And there's a big difference between my intent is to try to do the right thing and I'm coming at everything in good faith versus I am really out here to get people. And I think for the most part, those lines are not, they're pretty obvious to me. Without manipulating your personal perspective on the internet, she got in trouble how people interpreted one of her tweets. It was very thought-provoking and suspenseful. Jonathan Hick. Okay, that was about the comic. I'm glad you enjoyed that. M, thank you for that. I feel the need to apologize for the brain fog because I'm out here trying to like have this conversation, but at the same time, like I'm not 100% there. And I guess I shouldn't apologize for not being 100% there, like in terms of the brain fog. We're gonna have human days. Jay said, every negative interpretation of the tweet that I saw was pure projection. Yeah, I don't understand how that tweet went in the direction that it did, honestly. Also, welcome, Falcone. I just saw your tweet, so welcome to this stream, and I hope your Sunday is going well. That's the thing, right? Like, I don't know how that tweet got taken the way that it did. Even the ones done by left-leaning people were often done in bad faith. The idea that the two different media could be similar that are produced by Western production studios that are ripping off certain aspects of a different culture. Contrast sometimes says that the viciousness for marginalized people can come from a need for social power. I find that partially convincing. I could see that, but I also found it interesting. I'm pretty sure Lindsay pointed it out in the video that it wasn't just marginalized people that were writing to her, that it was people pretending to be marginalized people. That there was a certain subsection of the marginalized, there was a certain subset of people where some of them claimed to be marginalized and were not, or were not marginalized in quite the same way that they put themselves out to be. And that's a problem. I mean, you can hide behind your Twitter handle. There's an anonymity that you get when your face isn't out there and you're not the one talking. Right-wing troll farms are a real thing, and we have to be mindful those posing as leftists online may just be professional trolls trying to turn us against each other. Yeah, no, that's definitely going to be a thing. And I think that's something that we are going to have to be very aware of. Like, I have yet to see a good explanation on what she did wrong. Oh, they came out and said it after. I think there was one person that she was pointing to that said, like, they were... If I'm remembering correctly from the video, don't take this at 100%, and if I can get a confirmation for this, I would appreciate it. There was one person who claimed to be a woman of color and was actually a white man. If I'm remembering correctly. Cray, welcome. Yeah, she emphasized the similarities, Cray, between Raya and Avatar. And I haven't seen Raya, so I can't really speak on that. But apparently one of the people that was pretending changed their, like, deleted their account because of it. And I'm just gonna call it what it is. Digital blackface is a thing. It really is disturbing. And the thing is I wonder sometimes how much of it is right-wing people starting something and being like, oh, look at this person who's supposed to be this and isn't. And then people latching onto that. How much of that is just people who get off on hatred? And wanting to just spread their own misery on some level. Like, I don't know. I don't understand the point of that. And that isn't to say that Lindsay's never made a mistake before, right? Like, Lindsay Ellis has clearly made a mistake before. I'm not going to pretend she hasn't. But who hasn't? You'll profit from said misery. Let's do that. I agree. A person who made a mistake is very different from an enemy, and I think we need to remember that. Also, everyone look, it's Base Cat. All hail Lord Base Cat, indeed. Base Cat is now on the back of the ship. This wave of online lefty stuff started from a righteous backlash against Gamergate, so I think we'd like to believe that our people are different, but I've come to realize that's not the case. Oh, I forgot one thing about Base Cat. Base Cat needs whiskers. Oh no, wrong color. There we go. We have a Base Cat mural on the back of the ship, right? Like, how cool is that? Can I install Eldritch energy cannons in her eyes? That would be really cool. The ship can't sink. It's now tied to reality itself. Sarah's video about the Oklahoma style meme is a great exploration of right-wing trolls pretending to be SJWs so they could justify their anti-SJW. Yeah, no, that's definitely a thing. And if anybody remembers that dead meme, I hope that's a dead meme at this point, the super straight one, it was the same kind of thing with right-wing people trying to... I can't believe I just revived that by saying it. But just to make the point, that was a bunch of right-wing people trying to use the idea of left perspectives to try to troll lefties. So, like, that's something that's going to happen. For base cat must float above all where they rightfully belong. True. Jay, I am very happy to hear your next question whenever you are willing to share it. You used to think those whiskers were hands? Aw. They could be hands. You know, I'm really happy that this came out the way it did. I agree with you, David. Definitely coping for something. Praise be to base cat. So I like how the back came out. I think next I want to work on bending this back down. And I think the point where it hinges is probably right here. It's where it gets too high. There we go. Basically, it's about the progressives that are against the progressive politicians in Congress because they aren't doing enough. I said on Twitter first and it made sense to me even though I'm not sure if it's true. Base cat who freed us from the illusions of meaning and morality and lead us down the eldritch path. True, David. Looks like it's trying to give hugs. Aw. True, it does. Little hands trying to give you eldritch hugs. And yeah, they're trying to make super gay the equivalent of gay and transphobic, just like super straight was straight and transphobic. Which is just absurd and ridiculous. Jay says, is Joe Manchin's disproportionate power due to the fact that he's a Democrat from a conservative area and disappointing his constituents would likely lead to a Republican taking his seat? As opposed to the progressives who would most likely wind up losing their seats to another Democrat. That's why the Dems find Manchin more valuable. I actually think it has more to do, from where I'm sitting, it has more to do in terms of the power structure of what it is that the progressives are trying to accomplish. Joe Manchin represents the status quo. In a lot of ways, the things that he would purport or put out, because his family, for example, comes from money. His family has been Democrats for over 100 years. They were Democrats in West Virginia when being a Democrat meant something entirely different. I don't think people in West Virginia are more conservative or couldn't be reached or anything like that. I think there's a perspective that kind of creates that mindset. But I think the bigger issue with all of that is that because he is closer to the status quo, him denying a vote to get something that he wants is registered in the minds of people as valid and important. Whereas if the progressives were to do the exact same thing without enough power and without enough votes, they would kind of be laughed at. Because the problem is within the political circles themselves, there is not enough clout for the ideas that progressives put out there. The idea of something like Medicare for all, while the people want it, the politicians themselves don't. So if you were to propose something like that in Congress, it's an issue. Also, people forget how the bicameral system works within the US. AOC doesn't have any power in the Senate. AOC refusing to vote for something does not do anything. If she gets something passed that won't pass the Senate's just going to limit it and change it and alter it. Bernie Sanders has power in comparison to Joe Manchin. AOC, Ilhan Omar, Cori Bush, they don't have power against Joe Manchin. We need senators who are progressive to start countering the Joe Manchins of the world. And people forget that because of the bicameral system, there is a lack of power in the Senate. All you have is Bernie. Maybe Warnock, maybe Ossoff, maybe. But like, who else do you have in the Senate? I mean, is it substantive criticism? Is it superbly impractical hating on progressives for not giving out $200 minimum wage and free healthcare tomorrow? I think so. I think there's an expectation that we're just going to be able to get everything that we want tomorrow, and when it doesn't happen, it angers and upsets people. Toot says, I heard that AOC can use Antifa blood magic to sway Joe Manchin, but she's refusing to do it. We need to get Nina Turner back in Congress. We need to do something. I'll say that much. Maybe that's too high up still. I feel like I just redid the same thing. Let's start over from here. Yeah, let's have it come out from here. That might work better. I think that looks better. Maybe? No, I think that might be angled up too much, so... Maybe the problem is all the way here. Because this is where it starts to look disjointed. Yeah, there we go. Does that look better? Maybe I should just extend this out a little bit further, but I like that better. It also just looks too small now. So what I could do is kind of just double this out like this. And then I want to do this. And then... yeah, I like that. What do you all think? Is that better for the front of the ship? Less phallic than before. True. If you guys saw a piece of fiction featuring anarchist characters, what would you want to see in it? If I saw anarchist characters, I would want to see an accurate representation of anarchists. People who are building the new reality, trying to create something. I'm tired of seeing the reality that that we're just the people throwing bricks through windows. Like, that's such a limited capacity of what anarchy is, as far as I'm concerned. Emma says, I'd like to see characters who approach things in what people like us could identify as anarchist ways, but are not explicitly referred to as anarchists. Why would you want them to not be explicitly referred to as anarchists as opposed to changing the paradigm on what the term anarchy means? That would be my question. If we create an idea of anarchy that is building things, that is doing all these things, and then we apply a label to it that doesn't meet their original expectations, I feel like that could create. No, that's too much. That could create an alternative mindset. Get people to like the character and then call them anarchists. Yeah, I could see that working out very well, actually. Okay. I think that's a good front of the ship. We fix the back of the ship. We fix the front of the ship. No, I'm completely with you then. It's actually something Beau of the Fifth Column does with his videos, where he's kind of like, I'm not really this thing, but like I'm not going to tell you what I am or what my philosophy is. But if you read between the lines, you know it's there. So I am going to very, very quickly run to the bathroom, and then I'd like to talk about the main topic, unless anybody else has any other questions or ideas. But Jay, I hope I successfully answered your questions. Okay, and I am back. Ollie said one of my college professors did that and really helped get their girls to actually listening. Like, why does a character need a label? I prefer the idea of a certain mindset or an idea being presented rather than it being like, this character's here to convince you of labeled worldview. I agree with you for the most part, Emma. The music did change for me. It's like, hey, welcome back. But I also imagine, for example, if you had a text or a book that introduced a character and everyone liked that character, and by the end of it you revealed that character was, I don't know, gay, trans, insert whatever here, you know? Would that not make people think, well, hey, maybe people of this particular group aren't so bad? Maybe I need to rethink that. And I think that there's room for both. Like, there is a diversity of tactics there. I think you can, in some cases, just state the outlined perspectives, and in some cases you can start getting people to think, hey, well, if that's what an anarchist is, maybe I've been misunderstanding anarchy. And then the two end up working together, because then when people notice those patterns, they're like, oh, those are like anarchist patterns, like, you know? And I think it creates a duality where both of those diverse understandings come together. But it doesn't have to be like, oh, this person's an anarchist and that's their whole identity, because that gets annoying, right? Like, I think that gets absolutely annoying. But I'm reminded of, because I'm always reminded of Deep Space Nine, the fact that Kira Nerys is identified so strictly as a Bajoran national, for example, and all the things that she had to do in that, but she's such a likable character. And it's this juxtaposition where a certain form of her history and narrative ends up making her likable, but at the same time, she's labeled with all these things that you're not supposed to like. And it ends up creating a narrative where you start to rethink and start to get a new idea of what that is. And I think there's room for both, honestly. Yeah, we can definitely show that characters are building mutual aid networks before they do that. Toot says, I met a guy who makes millions of dollars as a middleman selling oil chemicals and pays zero taxes through small-scale fraud. He considers himself an anarchist. Well, Emma, I'm not specifically talking about, like, guiding you to the point. You can just say, the character is this. Think for yourself on what that means. It means the character's complicated. It means the character, it's a part of the character's identity. You can say the character is blank without having to lead the audience like it's an essay. I do think there is a habit where people, a lot of today's media has a tendency to overdo it and to just be like, look at the good, look at the good, look at the good, look at the good. You know, look at this thing. But you can just say, this character is blank, and then let the action speak for itself. Or let the action speak for itself and then say this character is blank, and then let the audience have to put those two together and reconcile it for themselves. Because that'll be more thought-provoking than, here's what I want you to think. So I'm in agreement with you in that regard. But I don't think denying the character their identity just to make a point makes sense. Because people are not going to say, um, the people are not going to look at somebody who's making a mutual aid network in a book and instantly connect that to anarchy. They're just going to be like, oh, this person does like charity and they do good things. Unless you start to shift that direction, I don't think it's going to work. But you can do it in subtle ways that doesn't make it like hitting a hammer. Like, you don't want to bludgeon the audience. I completely agree with you. Because sometimes you need to give a name to what the audience is experiencing. Because sometimes they just don't know. Also, Toods, I don't know what to say about that person that thinks that they're an anarchist. Because if you haven't done any sort of mutual aid or anything, I mean, at that point, he kind of just sounds like an ANCAP. I would love to pet you, Blab. There we go. Where's Carl Barks? That is a good problem to have. A bunch of pets just wanting to run up to you and... You're all grumpy. They're all grumpy. How you doing, Base Cat? Well, fortunately, Base Cat is happy and not grumpy. So... Let me find another thing to do on this ship, and then... Because the outside looks really good to me. And then maybe we can get to talking about what I wanted to talk about with the news cycle. I am immune to value systems. Also, I hate the idea that people think NCAP is a legit term. I hear you. It is a logical fallacy. Absolutely. He's not really an NCAP because he criticizes capitalism as much as he criticizes taxation. Everything he does is selfish. He doesn't really try to justify it. Yeah, for real, it just sounds like he wants to sound cool with the title of anarchist. Loyalty to close family and friends does not sound, specifically anarchist to me. Sounds kind of like it's missing some components to it. Yeah, like, actually, Emma, that's a good term for it, nihilism. Nepotism. Another good one. So, one of the things that I've been thinking about the past few days is the perspective of the news cycle. And I got to thinking about this because some of the more recent videos I put out have been topics that have not really been covered by a lot of media sources. And in general, I know that as anarchists, our perspective are not really covered in the media very well. Quite similar to what we were talking about before with our thoughts and processes being put into books and stuff like that. We are labeled as destructive, we're labeled as all these other things. But even beyond anarchism, there's an issue where we keep talking about the most vile perspectives and the most hated perspectives, rather than the moments where we form into any sort of unity. And when I covered specifically the thing in New York that's going on, where there's the formation of a internet service provider that's communal and has a co-op ISP. And when I covered the fact that unions have come out and supported the protesters for BLM, I haven't seen that in any of the news sources. And I was thinking a lot about how the news cycle emphasizes such negativity, emphasizes such a perspective, and puts the voices of, well, honestly, the most negative proponents of our society out there, because that ends up drawing in this very specific type of crowd, in this very specific mindset from people where we don't see the good in people. And I was thinking about how that influences everything. And I think this might even tie to the Twitter conversation we were having before, where there's this idea where we need to see the worst in people all the time. And if that's not perpetuating the same ideas that we are not able to come together, that if it's almost this very specific anti-anarchist and anti-leftist perspective, and certainly anti-communal, where we as individuals can't trust our fellow human being. And we create that narrative where, only the voices that speak out the worst and most vile aspects of opinions get pushed up. Whereas unions coming out to support protesters and people rallying together against certain forms of violence end up getting silenced and pushed to the side. And to me, that is something that we need to start changing the narrative of. We need to start changing the focus of. Because the news cycle is promoting nothing but the most egregious opinions. And so I wanted to just throw it out there and find out what your perspectives are, or if you've seen any stories out there where the news cycle has really... The music is hilariously timed and appropriate. where the news cycle has come out and ignored some of the perspectives where we've come together. Like, they don't talk about anarchists performing mutual aid. They don't talk about anarchists doing good for people. But they will highlight the moments when some people are protesting in the street, where they create the model of disunity and disorganization and individualism and self-promote the system that they're trying to uphold. The mainstream media or corporations, and it's in the interest of their business model to push narratives that protect corporate power. Unity among the masses is not in their interest. Absolutely true. So how do we counter that? That's the question I'm proposing. How do we as leftists come together and try to subvert that sense of hatred, that sense of we're all so disjointed and, you know, not unified that we can never come together? Because that is a very real thing, and I've seen it in the leftist spaces, right? Where there's this idea of, oh, we'll never come together, you know, we'll never create unity. And we do it to ourselves a lot. And I'm wondering how much we are hurting ourselves and our own movements by not being able to overcome something like that. Boost local journalism that runs on small scale by people with unified interests. Absolutely, that's a good start. Independent media and trying to educate the masses about how the structure of society shapes our media. Make an effort as content creators to highlight unity. That's the thing, right? Like, as content creators on the internet, I think we need to start doing that. And I'm really with you there, Ben. If we can have a... Like, one of the people that I love watching when it comes to this is actually Mexi. If you're familiar with her channel. Because she ends up putting out once a week, or once a month rather, positive leftist news. And the whole perspective that is put out there is, here are some moments where we got small victories. Here are some moments where we get wins. Where people came together, where people unified. And I think we need more of that as we're starting to build our movements. Where it isn't this idea that, oh, you know, this is messed up and that's messed up. You know, where it's really easy at the end of the day to criticize all of the issues in society. But if we're not able to talk about our victories, if we're not able to talk about our moments where we win, where we do good, even if we don't win, maybe we get a small victory, maybe it's something tiny, right? We should still take the time to celebrate our unity around it. And this is something that I've tried to advocate for before, and I feel like it's something that we need to focus on more and more as we progress. How do we start building spaces? Because we can't tear down the old society if we don't have something in its place. And this is a concept that's as old as time for anarchists. You know, when we've come out with anarchist perspectives, since the beginning of anarchy, one of the things about the destruction that we're trying to perform is that we're trying to build a society out from that destruction. It's not just, you know, hey, we want to destroy and tear down components of things, but we want to build something in its place. We want to build a more just world. So why are we not talking about that aspect of it, where we can create something better? And just because there is negativity out there doesn't mean that we don't have something valid to talk about. And how do we start shifting the narrative? And this is something else that I've been thinking about. How do we start shifting the narrative away from we're all trying to one-up each other or trying to get past each other, or we're all trying to like tear each other apart, and get to the point where we're trying to create something new and grand. Destruction should only be the consequence of creation. I love that. I love that. That is a great summary of what I'm trying to say, David. I thought a lot about how the news covers protests in the first days of George Floyd protests last year. Even well-meaning mainstream journalists are terrible at describing the whole of a protest. You need a strong pro-democratic ideological commitment to even be able to cover a protest responsibly as a journalist. True. And I think that, excuse me, I think that in a society where we have an emphasis on greater man theory and we have an emphasis on leadership, there's often a notion of, well, how do we find the leader of the movement? How do we find the person who's going to be the spokesperson for the people? But in movements like the George Floyd protest, in movements like Antifa, BLM, there is no singular group to go to. There is no individual who's going to represent the whole and the totality of the movement. And the thing is, that makes it that much stronger. And I think that that's something that's missed and not understood with the wider way that the media looks at things and the wider way people look at things. Because if you can pigeonhole a leader, that leader can be pushed to the side. Right? Like, they can handle taking out a leader. It's much harder to take care of an ideology, of a movement, of a mindset that's growing. And that's scary in a lot of ways. It's scary for the establishment. And what I want to see more of is more conversation. More conversation about how do we build? How do we grow? How do we do these things that are going to help our movements and causes? As opposed to, how can I tear down your opinion? How can I, put my opinion as the dominant perspective? I want to see a situation where we are having the conversations. Not debates, not, a bunch of people tearing each other down. Not that, maybe debates do have their place still. I'm not a fan of them personally, but what I want to see is more of, how do we start having the equivalents of book clubs, the equivalents of community organizations, where we have the meetings and put them in an online space, where we start having collective conversations about how to create the better world that we want to live in. That's what I want to see us moving in the direction of. And if we can start building those spaces and we can start building those dynamics, people will start to get it. That's my theory, and that's my feeling on it. Here we go. I think that covers the sides of the ship pretty well. Now, one thing I do need... Unfortunately, I think I'm gonna have to just take all that down. I can rebuild that later. But I need the parts. So my question is I guess, how do we, in the online leftist spaces, start to create an engagement that is unifying? That is us having the conversation, hey, I want to build something. How do we start collectively doing that? How do we broadcast that into streams? How do we do that where people are going to have to address some ideas and concerns and talk about these issues in a grander scale than just people either shouting at each other or people having like the type of conversation where they're trying to prove their point correct? I would love to see a book club format in streaming. And if there's other streamers out there who would like to do that with me, and you know anybody who might want to do that with me, I'd be willing to start pioneering and moving in that direction. Like, and I don't mean exclusively just a book club where we read a book and we talk about it, because that's something that would be viable and cool also, right? To have a conversation about different thoughts and perspectives, especially if we introduce new voices and perspectives than what we're used to. If we could move beyond Kropotkin and Bakunin and maybe move into some women anarchists, some people of color anarchists, etc. Like, if we could start moving in that direction, that'd be great to do a book club format like that on stream and to have that kind of conversation where we address the ideas and we talk about how we could apply those ideas into the modern world. What I would also like to see, though, is how we can talk about community building, how we can talk about erasing some of the boundaries between us, and stream about that and have conversations about that. And accept the fact that people are going to, well, to be perfectly honest, be flawed when we have this conversation. And that the point isn't to call people out, but to call people in to a conversation, to address the fact that we are all trying in our own ways to try to create the better world. And that even if we're not perfect, even if we're not showing up at the ideal that everybody would like us to be, that we're trying. I want to see effort and trying in that way where we're talking about community building and making sure more voices get out there. I agree with you, Ven. We do need to make more room for mistakes. Because, honestly, we're still learning ourselves. And it is my hope that we are going to live in a world where the perspectives of today are looked back upon in the way that we look back at certain perspectives from the past. That we are going to be seen as good, but not perfect. And that even in the perspectives of anarchy that we have, even in the perspectives of leftism, as in some ways there's going to be room for our growth, that even if we are people who did the best we could in our time, that people are going to look back at us and say they could have done better. And we know they could have done better because we've come to these new perspectives. If I can be someone who helps be a part of creating a better tomorrow so that people have more freedom, that people have more ability to call me out, I'm fine. Like, if they want to look at me as a villain historically, or any of us as a villain historically, I'm perfectly fine with that. Show me for my flaws and be better than me in the next generation. That's great. That's great. Because our minds are limited by our times. But I think we need to start having the conversations about how to build that up and create that in the online space, especially in a world where, you know, something like the pandemic happened, and in a lot of cases, a lot of people's spaces got limited. So let's broaden them. Let's make this an online conversation. Tude says, another aspect is the novelty bias of news media in general. If anything happens at a protest that a normie would consider out of the ordinary, that automatically becomes the headline in the news. If a protest is 98% marching, chanting, and dancing, and 2% clashing with neo-fascists, then the media reports the entire thing as a violent clash between extremists. Yeah, that's another thing. We need to stop defining everything based off those extreme moments. That's a good point, dudes. I'm really glad you brought that up. There we go. Now, I don't know. We need to be building both online and actual physical spaces where we can sow the seeds of liberation into the minds fertile with discontent and righteous fury. Absolutely. And the thing is, there are people right now, who are in spaces where they're surrounded by MAGA. They are surrounded by neighbors of people who are MAGA. Those people may not be able to commune with, too many anarchists in their area. But if they have an online space where they can start to foster those ideas, where they can have conversations about how they can even slightly start to shift the paradigm in their neighborhoods, where they can start to work towards de-radicalizing their neighbors, even slightly, and to have the space to talk about that, and the fact that things can be good but not perfect. Maybe your neighbor, you can convince your neighbor, through having a series of online conversations and having a discussion of how to do it and the different ways to de-radicalize. Maybe you're able to create a way and mindset that you can even shift somebody to be ever so slightly less, antagonistic to these ideas. And it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be this thing where we achieve everything overnight, but it's going to be a slow process of building. And I think that's okay. We need to reach out to each other more and make it an effort to be less confrontational. And if you want to start that would be super cool, and I would be here to support it and share it. I mean, then, if you want to talk more later, maybe not tonight specifically for me, because I'm still recovering. But at some point we should definitely have that conversation. A good example for what Tudes said about novelty is explained incredibly well in Philosophy Tube's Antifa video. The violence that gets reported on violence we aren't used to. A violence that is not already justified in the system. Duke, welcome! How are you doing today? I should rope this off. We must present our... Yeah, you certainly walked into something heavy, Duke. You should get that checked out. Sometimes walking into something heavy can be a little painful. Sorry, terrible joke. We must present ourselves first and foremost as advocates of democracy and individual freedom, avoiding loaded terms while being steadfast in our anarchist principles. There we go. You'll let the joke slide since I'm delirious and don't know what I'm saying. Yeah, the fact that I don't know what I'm saying is all the more reason you should, you know, completely listen to what I'm saying. Unless you have the potential to make those terms less loaded in the spaces of your discussion. Bun Bun. Hey, Base Cat. Carl Barks is grumpy still. Duke, you missed, Base Cat. Delirious Tara is sharper than many people on their best day. I appreciate that. No, that's too much. It was worth a shot. Come to Calgary, Duke. It's below 0 and it's been snowing all day. That's not the idol, though. That's the mural. How do I have so little lag with chat? I don't know. Do most people have lag with chat? I should spend a little bit of... that's much better. That makes me feel better. Now it doesn't look like it's hanging on by a thread. We could talk about that later, Vin, if you want. I'm usually almost a minute behind chat. Let's talk to you. I'm gonna take a small break from the ship. Although that looks absolutely fantastic. Okay, how far away can you see Base Cat from? Base Cat really can see all. Look at that. You can still see its Base Cat from here. So I think I'm going to take a small break from building that, and I'm going to attempt to build the magic wand for Serana. Let me just pull up the instructions for that. Doop. There we go. Okay, I need to combine. But we can turn off flight then if we're going to do that. This is just for a quest. Serana's the witch who lives on the outskirts of town. And she needs a magic wand. Has the witch accepted the word of base cat? Yes, she has. Vin, I am glad that you had a good time. I hope you have a wonderful time with your girlfriend. And praise be to base cat. Take care, Emma. Thanks for coming out, both of you. Okay, I already have the star jelly. We need to establish our own large media enterprise. That would be interesting. It's okay, Crow. I'm glad you've been here and been having this conversation with us. Even if you've just been listening. I wonder how that would function, a co-op media company. I wonder what kind of startup that would need. Anarchists have to control our own image in the public discourse. True. I do. I was actually about to go get them. I don't know if I have the blue butterfly that I need. Could you start a YouTube channel with that idea? I mean, we're here, aren't we? Theoretically, a lot of people have already done that. How do you keep getting out wings? You're hungry because you broke out of your fence. Get over here. Okay. You. Now eat. That sort of project would have to be a combined effort with many anarchist creators. Yeah. Like, I can't do that on my own. I wouldn't want to do that on my own. I wouldn't be so presumptuous to be able to speak for everybody either. There are certainly perspectives I don't have. And I would want those perspectives to have a voice. What would be kind of capitalist? Oh yeah, doing it on my own would certainly be, I mean, an issue. I mean, I don't know if me doing it on my own without employing people would be exclusively capitalist, but it certainly wouldn't be providing the level of reality that we're trying to create or trying to talk about. Yeah, it's not something any one person could truly do. I am in complete agreement with that. I need a blue butterfly. Do I have a blue butterfly? It's probably like the one butterfly I don't have. And I don't know where my lumber is. Mostly because this is a disorganized mess. Most media is super capital intensive, and even entertainment media can sink or swim very easily from one success or failure, unless it's massive like Disney. The blue butterfly could do it on its own, though. True. The blue butterfly needs base cat. True. Forgot about that. Oh, here's lumber. So now I just need a blue butterfly. No sign of a blue butterfly. We must go out and venture forward for a blue butterfly. I can check if the museum has one. It's an emperor butterfly. But not a blue one. Well, that's convenient. Oh no, that's an emperor butterfly. That's not a blue one. I was gonna what the heck? Were those Easter eggs? Like literal Easter eggs? In winter? I also don't think we need to have everything perfect when we start with something like that. We don't need to have it be like a media empire or something like that. I think even if we just got a bunch of YouTubers together and started having these kind of book club environments, or we talked about the news together in ways, or organized together, and we started creating that paradigm and saw if we could draw people into that mindset where we could talk about unity, it might be a good start. You know, we're not going to necessarily achieve the perfection right away. Exactly. And YouTube can provide that medium for people, and even if people are able to, don't be like the co-op store from King of the Hill in that regard. True. Like, we don't need to be perfect overnight, and we also don't need to, have everything just happen all of a sudden. It's going to be a gradual shift. The co-op store, okay, so there's an episode of King of the Hill where there's a co-op that exists, and Hank Hill ends up trying to go there because the meat that is available at the equivalent of Walmart in that universe basically is atrocious. And so he finds out from someone he knows about this co-op that has good meat that's been raised with care instead of the factory farming conditions. And he ends up going there, and the co-op is run horribly. Absolutely horribly. Tomatoes don't have flavor. Yeah, that's a thing I've heard from people though before. And so they're getting things from the farm directly, so they have one component of it, but they don't have the business sense. They don't have the efficiency system, and once they made a cent of capital and profit, they freaked out. That would be a good start. I'm thinking steps ahead of the book clubs. We need to be able to digest and explain data to the masses through reliable journalism. Yeah. The co-op was nice to the staff, but poorly run, I would say. There was no efficiency. There was no sense of actual business sense. And I mean that not in the capitalistic sense, but in the sense of how do we make our time use efficient? How do we turn this into something that's a benefit for everybody? It was poorly managed and poorly run. Like, there's a scene where they're trying to bring the strawberries to the display case to put it on the shelf, and they just start bringing them out one at a time instead of using a hand truck. It's like nobody knows how to drive a certain vehicle that's required to travel out to the farm that they get their goods from. It's things like that where they don't have the tools and the planning and the foresight, but they have the really good ideas. We have to create compelling fiction that normalizes a mythology that articulates anarchist philosophy to help build a stronger counter-hegemony. David, you and I are on... It is a caricature, Cray, but it's also real. I have seen it with my own eyes. There is a level where, even though that is a straw man and an exaggeration, there are components of it where there's fear of becoming the system. And I'm absolutely with you, David. We are on the same page there. These are the diversity of tactics that we need to start creating. How do we design fiction? How do we create anarchist fiction? How do we create anarchist news? How do we create more voices for more people? How do we change the paradigm so that it's not the same tired perspectives over and over being perpetuated, even in our leftist spaces? I cannot find a blue butterfly. That's amazing, David, honestly. Have you put any of it out there or shared it with anybody? Or published it or anything? Apparently there was no blue butterflies. I think one of the things that we need to remember is that the movement of anarchy is about construction, it's about building, and it's going to be about a lot of hard work and a lot of self-care. And it's going to be about taking the aspects of capitalism and just generally communistic societies and planning, mostly the planning side of that, and moving it in a direction where we shift the narrative. What are our end goals? What are our long-term plans? What are we trying to accomplish? Nothing is going to spring out of us just waiting, right? Like, nothing is just going to happen. And I think we need to get out of that mindset if any of us are there. It's not just going to manifest and form in front of us, where one day we're going to wake up and the revolution happens and it's anarchy. It's going to take time to build it. It's going to take time to create it. It's going to take time. It's going to need to be nurtured. Berkman actually refers to it as as a flower that needs to be grown and, taken care of and maintained. That's how we're going to make the revolution happen. And it's going to probably start with us forming co-ops in capitalism, workers' co-ops, where we form the similar institutions, but we make the worker co-op equivalents of it. A worker co-op ISP, a worker co-op publishing house, a worker co-op newspaper, a worker co-op video game industries. The server that Duke's referring to, David, is the Discord server. It's not in a place where I think it's ready to be published yet. I've been careful that I don't cut a deal that takes away my control over my stories. Well, David, I do want to point out that there is a possibility, always, of you self-publishing. There are places that do that, and we can talk about that if you do end up making the Discord on there. The Discord is definitely a better place for these types of conversations because it's less one-sided, and if you're comfortable getting on voice, we can do it that way. We can type it out. It makes it so that there's more of a, a space for that, as opposed to me playing the video game and responding to your questions kind of thing. I feel like it creates that better space for that as well. But I definitely think that if you're wanting that creative control, there are spaces you can self-publish. And honestly, one of the things that we can do as more one-on-one small group conversations tend to foster that kind of trust and growth and everything like that. I think one of the things that you could consider, we should be considering, is how we can promote each other. That it's not just like a competitive nature, right? Like, we need to create a system where if you're writing a book, David, I, using my YouTube channel, can promote your book. And I can promote your stories. And I can be like, hey, check this out. And at the same time, be able to work with each other to keep promoting our narratives, our stories, our news media, our co-op ideas. And make sure that within that we have accountability so that voices don't get lost. And it's a lot. And we're not going to be perfect at it. And I'm not even claiming that we're going to, fix it overnight or make it happen. But there's ways in which we can try to hold that accountable. And I think that's something we need to have more conversations about. So I am actually going to run to the bathroom again, super quick, and then we're going to finish making this wand. I might just make a blue butterfly appear because I'm in creative mode anyway, and going out and looking for it is not working out. So I will be right back. But yeah, David, if you built a world-scaled story that can compete with DC and Marvel, one of the things that might be great about something like that is people being able to add to your story. I don't know, just an idea. I know you'll have creative control over your own narrative, but the idea that we can all commune around stories of similar characters is amazing, even if you're not comfortable with, losing the creative control specifically. But the idea that we can even have anarchist characters that we can wrap our brains around and identify with is important. But fanfiction's kind of that anyway, isn't it? Yeah, I agree, Em. I'd love to hear about that. I'm going to be right back. And I am back. Let's see. Let me catch up on chat. Once upon a time, there was a Dalrock. Yes. You get bigger by sharing your stuff online and letting it spread until it gets noticed. True. Underground fame is a thing. If you can get people handing out copies of your stories to people, even if they're just sections of stories, like if you had David, for example, if and this applies to anybody who makes anything, right? Like if you put out your first piece of literature and you give that away, right? Like you share it as a story, but you connect it to something. There's every possibility that people will want to see more and will come looking for more, and then all of a sudden it's out there. And if we keep getting anarchist and leftist YouTubers to promote the stories out there, stories are a good way to move people. And David, Karl Marx actually said that Charles Dickens did more for the people of England than Marx ever did. Him writing the stories that he did ended up changing the narratives and perspectives of an entire movement of people and created a new social paradigm. Charles Dickens' writings were hugely important in the movement. So I think that if we can create narratives like that, we can do better. So stories are a huge important part of all of this. I am sure I have a blue butterfly somewhere. I just don't know where it is, because I have definitely caught one of those before. Dickens was to Marx as Marvin and Aretha are to David. Fair enough, yeah. Magicless wand. There we go. We can take this to Serana now. Base Cat. Hey, Base Cat. Base Cat is positively glowing with life. Stories need to exist in an ideological framework. I am reminded of the classic conservative watching a movie with leftist themes and drawing the opposite conclusion. True. But this is why we have diverse tactics. This is why we draw different perspectives and conclusions. This is why we work in different ways. Because there's no one correct way to be a leftist. Some people are going to focus on de-radicalization. It was the lack of petting that made the pets angry, yeah. Some people are going to focus on de-radicalization. Some people are going to focus on moving us into the new era and building our communities. Gasps in it. What are you talking about, Cray? That's part of why I say that our heroes are specifically anarchists. True. I had a neoliberal, mostly conservative coworker telling me one time how much he loved Parasite, the Korean film, and was completely blown away when I told him I was surprised since it was very left. It is relevant. There's also a conversation to be had, Cray, in terms of that particular aspect about how efficient and good that is. But yeah. I have the parts. What are you talking about, Serana? Hold up. I want to make sure. Why is Serana not taking the magicless wand? Serana complains that she hasn't seen you in a while, but even though she's happy, she needs opening to the magic a bit more. She gave you some blueprints to make things for her home. The blueprints require a magic station. I did that. After completing, she tells you that she's been anticipating and gives you a list of items needed to make yourself a magic wand. Why is that not working? How many boricuas are there? A lot. If you have no understanding of class dynamics, you can read Parasite as a thriller that happens to include rich and poor families. I have the parts, though. Hold on, maybe she is explicitly asking me to... Blue butterfly. Lumber. What am I missing here? A profile picture, David. I have the lumber, the blue butterfly, I have all these things. And I made the magicless wand already. Let me see if maybe... Serana will keep waiting until she has the parts in hand. I don't know what to do. Do I give her the wand? Okay, that didn't work. Maybe it's because I don't have... Okay, get off the bed. Serrano will keep waiting until she has the parts in hand. There we go. Serrano needs to concentrate. Be careful not to disturb her. And there we go. One magic-infused wand. Serrano will make a witch out of you yet. Mother always said it was the sacred duty of any witch to foster a new generation. How relevant. Serrano plans to start that with you. Serrano has one final thing to say. Even if Serrano doesn't like being around people, she likes being around you. It would be easier to train a new witch as my roomie. Serrano isn't rude, though. She'll wait for you to ask before moving in. Serrano wants to move in. Also, I have a magic wand. U-Haul time. I don't know. I haven't been taught yet. The wand is a boon from the base cat. True. Now, where's that item to get people to move in with you? Oh, actually, all my petals go here. You forgot about the toilet house? Yeah. The toilet house is still amazing. Castlevania is going to have a season 4. I do have the friendship bracelet. I just don't know where the friendship bracelet is at the moment. That's what I'm looking for right now. There it is. Do you just give it to them? Serana can only imagine one of Moral's experiments went wrong. Mushrooms everywhere. You have to go help her. Are you finally ready to give Serana your soul? My soul already belongs to Base Cat. How about just being roomies? Serana has decided that's close enough. Just don't expect her to be home all the time. Serana still prefers the forests. I'll go help Moral. You hold. What the? I need Scythe. Who is leaving all these Easter eggs? Everybody is gathered around Carl Barks. The Easter Bunny. Celia, what's your plot in this? Maybe? What was I going to do? Oh, get my scythe. There it is. Hey, Base Cat. Thanks for letting us live today. Pets of the world, rise up. You have nothing to lose but your leashes. Indeed. You need a stronger scythe to remove this? There's a stronger scythe? If it isn't the mushroom, how can I help you today? Serana told you I was in trouble and needed help? I'll have you know I happen to like it this way. I didn't grow these for no reason. Mushrooms have very many properties, and this island can certainly use some more. So if you wouldn't mind, perhaps you could return to Serana and clarify things for her. I mean, she's being stubborn, isn't she? Serana knew this would happen. Having so many mushrooms in such a confined space will be a disaster. Serana doesn't like the thought of inhaling all those spores. Serana will have to help you fix this before it's too late. We need a specimen of the mushroom growing in Marl's house. Serana will need one of your watering cans to act as a base. Finally, 10 star bits, some salt, and a batch of chocolate cookies. Star bits, salt, and cookies. And a watering can. We do know what the cookies are for. She needs fuel too. Hey, Blaze Cat. What was it? 10 star bits. Where are my star bits? They're around here somewhere. It's probably up top. Star bits. Star bits, salt, cookies, and a watering can. Yeah, go for it, David. I hope you enjoy. Buen provecho. Salt. And a watering can. I have it. 10 star bits, chocolate chip cookies, salt, and a watering can. Now you're making me hungry, Cray. Why is it not working this time? No, I couldn't cut the mushrooms down. It said that my scythe wasn't strong enough. Let me try again. You need a stronger scythe to remove this. Maybe the small one will work. Oh, okay, there we go. Serrano was hungry. troll for making weed killer. So I'm supposed to kill them all. You need to try it out first. Serana hidden a few mushrooms around the village. Okay. Most weeds aren't weeds, honestly. Welcome back. The plantain leaf, amazing that just gets a bad reputation because lawns. True, plantain leaves are absolutely amazing. It does look like Tomty's floating in the toilet. That's funny. Good catch, Tubes. What is it? Did my daughter put you up to something again? She did, didn't she? How are you feeling? Just fine, actually. Oh, wait. I think I feel an episode of Butterfly coming on. Just kidding. Was that supposed to do something? I did. I did test it on Borland. Are there more mushrooms somewhere? Oh, I missed one. Okay. It's time for the main event. Clean up Moral's house. Let's do it. Do I consider myself part of BreadTube? I don't know. I post to BreadTube's Reddit all the time. I put all my videos there. I don't really... I guess I just don't see it as this, like, you're in it or you're not in it thing. I guess it's more... I think that's more up to the community to decide than me, if I'm part of that. I don't know if that makes any sense or that feels like maybe a cop-out of an answer. With that level of mushroom infestation, I think you should just torch the house and build a new one. Well, the house is a mushroom. So... I forgot my cloud blocks at home. I'm not going back to get it. I think that's all of them. Toot says your videos are in the subreddit, and since you're an anarchist, you meet the strictest criteria for being part of BreadTube, so I'd say yes. It is kind of sad we can't harvest them. A rabbit onesie and rabbit... Hold up. What? Okay. The game has demanded something of me. I think the spores are reaching me even here. You need to clean up Moral's house. I did. I must have missed some. That's a fair response, Toots. I have to try it. I'm not going to keep it, but I have to try it. That is, Huh. Okay. The game made me try it. BreadTube has never been fully anarchist, even if the meme references an anarchist book. True. Hey, Base Cat. I can picture this scenery and music existing in Adventure Time. I could see that as well. Now that I'm a witch, shouldn't I be flying everywhere? Maybe. I think it's my right to decide whether or not I want to fly. Maybe I don't want to every time. Oh, she was infested. For a moment, I felt as though I had become one with the mushrooms. You cannot imagine how glorious it was. Why had it suddenly become so easy to breathe? Where did all my pets disappear to? You didn't have anything to do with this, did you? You might think that I only care for the mushrooms, but I assure you I have other hobbies. I'm also interested in the things you can do with mushrooms. Okay then. Moral join the Great Link. It's true, the Great Mushroom Link. She looks like a mushroom pirate. So much better. Serana can breathe safely again. Moral might not realize it, but it's better this way. Serana thanks you. And I want to make a wagon. For Eris. 8 lumber, 6 fine lumber, 6 hardwood. Process. Carve 4 lumber, nails, and varnish. I remember I got most of these ingredients already. So let's make this happen. The sun is in your eyes, your vampirism is making you suffer. Again. Carve. 4 lumber, nails, and varnish. And I left the lumber at home, so I'm just gonna... There we go. Just to save time. I think I already did this part at one point. What do you think the Great Link in DS9 tastes like? Oatmeal. carve 6 hardwood lumber, 6 fine sequoia lumber. Okay, how do I make hardwood lumber? Lumber and... okay. I need 6 fine sequoia. I know I have the hardwood back at the house. Okay. Base Cat is talking with all the other animal friends. Do you think that Siska was over-accommodating when dealing with religious controversy at times? What do you mean by that? Like, do you have an example? Okay, what do we need for this wagon now? No, I know Cisco from DS9, but like, when do you think that he was over-accommodating towards religious stuff? Because I actually think he was fine in that regard, personally, but I was wondering if you had like a specific example of him being that way for yourself. I have a wagon base. Okay. Done that. Combine wagon base, 2 large gears, 2 latches, and 2 basic window frames. Oh, you're talking about Vedic Win. I don't think he really had a say in what happened with Vedic Win. Especially given that the Federation were guests of Bajor. For the 2 window frames. Combine 2 wagon base, 2 large gears, 2 latches. So how do I get a large gear and a latch? A large gear is carving 2 sheet metal. Okay. So now I have wagon essentials. This is a long one to make. I mean, Vedic Win is meant to do that to you, on some level. Combine wagon essentials, 14 nails, 2 varnish, and 2 glass pane. Varnish. I also think I fundamentally disagree with Picard in terms of that. I think religion and certain forms of spirituality can have a place. So it's possible I'm coming at it from a different place with that. I also think that with Bajor, they are a people who just went through a very turbulent colonial genocide. And the spiritual leader of their people, the Kai, was always the person that they turned to for hope, for safety, for sanctuary. And I think taking that away before the people themselves are ready to remove that is more detrimental and more imperialistic than anything else. If the people of Bajor grew past that, that would be on them to grow past. I don't think it was the place of the Federation or Cisco to make that happen or to try to make that happen. Combine 2 silk, 8 red petal, and 8 green leaf. Okay. Red petal and green leaf. Wait, my brain just fogged up right there. Silk, red petal, green leaf. How do I get silk? No recipe. Okay. Do they sell silk here? No. How do I get silk then? Just so we're on the same page, could you clarify 100% what Picard's perspective more or less was? Because it's been a while since I watched Next Generation. Where does one get silk in this game? Maybe I can order it? No. Is there a recipe for it? Just want to see what it... Okay, that's what it looks like. Let me check the store again before I just make it. Picard thought that humanity rejecting superstition was a very important moral achievement which freed humanity to experience a deeper sense of peace and solidarity, which would not have been possible otherwise. Perhaps, but there's also people who would argue that their spiritual beliefs is what brought them peace and solidarity. And one could also argue that even the Federation has some sort of sense of spirituality and belief. In a certain way of looking at the universe, for example. And we know that the prophets are actually beings that exist. And I think that complicates matters a lot. So I'm not ready to write the Bajorans off as somehow being wrong in their spiritual practices and eliminating that when they have orbs that have literally come from the prophets. And if the Bajorans are to go in that direction, then that's really on them to seek that out. But I don't think they will, and I don't think Sisko will push them in that direction, especially because, quite contrary, I think Sisko gets pushed in the direction, in a different direction, away from that kind of Picard mentality. And I think there's some validity to that. I don't know where to get silk in this game. I'm just not convinced that Picard's solution is a one-size-fits-all system. Where do I get silk? Let me look this up. Wait, what? Apparently there should be... Oh. Well, okay then. Apparently I need to go here to do that. Assemble 2 dirt blocks, 2 small gears, 3 wire, and glue. You don't think spirituality needs to be framed in a religious framing? We can address our need for ethics and meaning in the framework of dialectic naturalism or material dialectics. I mean, I suppose I don't see Picard's attitudes as the means as much as a necessary stage in our historical development. Bejor may not be a place in their history to do that yet, though. Is the Bajoran religion not framed within something material? Because of the orbs and because of the wormhole and the prophets themselves? And the existence of an emissary? I mean, Bejor is a very interesting case in that regard. Where are my dirt blocks? There's my dirt blocks. Small gear, wire, and glue. Okay. let's do that. And how do I make a small gear? Carve 2 sheet metal and then carve the large gear. In a sense, those things are real. Lightning is real, but is it right to attribute it to Zeus? The prophets or Bejor are real, but should they just be seen as really advanced beings? I'm gonna do some evening prep and hopefully make for an early night. Great stream as always. Hope everyone has a good day. See you all later in the Discord. Take care, merchants. It was good having you out here. I hope you have a lovely evening. I'm not sure, David, that it makes a difference. At least not to me. Assemble 2 dirt blocks, 2 small gears, 3 wiring. Oh, I need 2 small gears. The prophets are not advanced, they're just a completely different form of life. They're non-linear, non-corporeal. True. A cave island teleporter. Surf island teleporter. We need 2 small gears, more wires, more glue, and 2 jars of water. Should they be worshipped for their differences, though? Or just seen as different from us? I mean, I guess what I'm trying to express is that if you want to see them as different beings, that's perfectly reasonable and fine. But I think that if a group or population who has had space travel for thousands upon thousands of years wants to view them in that way, I don't think we should be the ones making that decision and choice. If they're not causing harm with it, then what difference does it make? How they choose to see these entities that are so vastly different. Also, we're gonna get to transport to a new area. Yeah, please don't skin Base Cat. We need Base Cat to live. Were those teleporters single use? No. Okay. This is apparently Cave Island. And it's where you get silk. But I have no idea how to get home. It won't let me teleport back. I don't think that a bunch of beings being recognized for what they are and for being valued for being in that way is necessarily an issue with authority. The prophets do not come down and specifically offer to the people and say, we're going to control you or manipulate you. They exist and they are venerated as great beings within a religion. And there are a lot of spiritual practices and religions that do quite similar in our world that don't necessarily rely on some sort of authoritarian system. And so I'm not inclined to have an issue with Bajor. And I think it's on the Bajorans to essentially move in whatever direction themselves, I suppose. I don't know how to get back from Cave Island. Also, that's water. Oh crap, how do I get back? How do... You know what, let me just look up Cave Island Staxel. You think that there's something deeply authoritarian about having the need to venerate others. But do they have the need? It's a choice. Again, there are plenty of cultures who venerate ancestors or venerate, beings that they have experienced in a certain way. I wouldn't say that that veneration is necessarily authoritarian. To venerate something and to hold it in high regard does not necessitate it being authoritarian in quite that way. Wait, is that how I... Ah, that's how I get back. So I got the silk. my character is sleepy, so I think I am going to wrap this up. M says veneration is a deep respect, and if it's not demanded, I don't think that means it's hierarchical. I'm inclined to agree with that. The prophets don't demand that. You could argue that part of the religious structure and the way that the Kai is implemented might be potentially problematic. But we've seen that Kais can be a true form of spirituality if they're venerated in a certain way. And we see that with Kaiopaka. But I think, with that said, I am going to wrap up for the evening. Vaccine fatigue is starting to hit me pretty hard, actually. I'm probably going to end up napping in a little bit. Or going to bed for real. I know, Cray, I know. I feel you. Kaiopaka. But, I want to thank you all for having a great conversation. Right to maybe experience in church speaking. You know, David, I will say this much. Our own experiences with especially Western religions, and church especially, and the way Christianity functions, in a broader understanding, can often put us in positions where we miss sight of the fact that certain forms of spirituality as a whole are not necessarily functioning in a certain authoritarian or demeaning way. And not even all Christianity functions in that way. And in fact, the history of Christianity didn't start that way. So I think it's worth taking an examination of what veneration means and re-examining some of that, especially because we come in with a very specific set of biases towards those type of things based on negative experiences. And whether or not that is necessarily a bad thing, or whether or not there's room for good in that. And I think a lot of people have found good in that, either through alternative means or through liberation theology or numerous other methodologies that have brought about more leftist perspectives through spiritual spaces. And I think that's something to consider. That's fair. And I thank you for being here, David, and I thank you all for being here. David, do consider joining the Discord if you get a chance. It is linked in the description below, and that goes for anybody else as well. If you're new and you feel like you want to join a community of people where we try to have conversations quite like the one on this stream, definitely feel free to join the Discord in the description down below. If you're someone who's in a place where you feel financially secure enough to do so, do consider leaving a donation, either a single donation or a Patreon donation. Those links are also in the description down below. Twitter, I have my Twitter link down there. I don't tend to post too much, but when I do, I hope that it is something worthwhile. And please feel free to like, subscribe, and check out my content, because I tend to post a lot of similar type content with this, exploring a lot of the news cycle and stories from a leftist perspective. I'm trying to read what that says. Even for me, Cray. Yeah. We can help you with navigating Discord, David. Bye, y'all, says Toods. Thank you all for coming out in great convo. You're always great company, Tara. Have a good night's rest. Thank you, David. Thank you again, everyone. And with that said, My name is Anarchist Terra, and I hope you all enjoyed watching.